Hare Krishna. We are so glad that by the will of Srila Gurudev and Sri Radha Krishna Yugala, today we are starting on a new book called Mädhurya Kadambini. This is actually an advanced book in Krishna consciousness, especially under the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Mädhurya Kadambini is the nectarian shower on the topic of Krishna Bhakti. This was revealed to us out of mercy from Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu through his associate Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura, one of our great Acharya in our line. So this book was translated and delivered to us by Srila Gurudev, by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. For every verse in this book, Srila Gurudev has given two kinds of explanations. One is called Bhavanuvada, that is revelation of the author's intent. And the second one is Piyusha Varshini Vritti, that is commentary that showers the nectar of Krishna Bhakti. So as per Bhagavad Gita, people in general come to Krishna for any of these four reasons. What are they? Chadurvida bhajande mam, janasu krityino arjuna, artho, jinyashur, artharthi, jnanicha, bharata rishabha. So the distressed, that is artho, they will also come to Krishna. The desirer of wealth, they also come to Krishna. And the inquisitive, they are also coming to Krishna. Jinyashur. Then and who is searching for knowledge, jnani, they are also come. So this is how initially the jivas are really trying to really get to somewhere, because they are in trouble. They are actually experiencing a lot of troubles, a lot of problems. But those who really come in that initial stages, it is not actually Krishna Bhakti. Why? Because there is a reason behind. There is an expectation behind it. It is not unconditional. In fact, it has very little to do with love for Krishna, in fact. However, when they happen to come under a sadhu, they develop higher stages of Krishna Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti. What is this? What is this highest Bhakti? That is what we have seen many times. Anyavilashita sunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam, anukuliyena krishnanu silanam bhaktir uttama. Uninterrupted loving service without any selfish desires or desire even for jnana or karma, but aiming only to give happiness to Krishna, not us, is called pure bhakti. We all covered that before. So a devotee grows high and high if he or she gets association with, especially what? Raganuga Bhakta. So eventually the devotee achieves the highest stage of perfection. So this book is called Mädhurya Kadambini. Kadambini means showers, rains from the clouds. And Madhurya means nectar. So Mädhurya Kadambini means showers of nectar. So what is in general the purpose of rain showers? They all fall on the ground and make the seeds to sprout and grow them to become plants and bloom and give fruits. When we apply this analogy in Krishna Bhakti, our heart is compared to the ground. Even though it is usually very hard, even like a stone, but Krishna Bhakti as a seed is inherent in the heart of every soul. Only when Guru gives initiation, this seed becomes activated. So every one of us actually has this seed. But for many, this seed is dormant. Why? Because the heart is not fertile yet. How can a seed sprout on a stone? It's not possible. So, but by our sukriti, our pious actions, we get sadhu sangha, and eventually a guru also. So these all the showers, what are they? They are the mercy from Guru, sadhus and the Lord. By these showers, the bhakti lata means wine. Bhakti lata means, it's like a creeper. So like a vine grows up and up and up, starting with the 2 leaves, this wine grows with more and more leaves. But it has to be carefully protected from anarthas, aparadhas, and bad habits. Then it eventually, this lata, this bhakti wine, it really pierces into the spiritual world, as you see on the right side of the diagram, and blooms there and gives a fruit. What is that fruit? What is that fruit? That fruit is prema, Krishna prema. If you see the picture at the right, you will see this same thing that I described. Those who are fortunate to buy a book, you will see a chart at the end of the book. So, as you see on the right side, it is very useful to follow and understand. In fact, you will really see that, if you really have the book, and it will be like this. So this is a big chart. So that's what I really put it there on the right side. So you will be able to really have this and then have it pinned on the wall or something so that you can refer. So all the chapters in this book are arranged as different showers from clouds, making the wine to grow up and up to bloom and then give fruit. This book is mainly meant for those who want to advance in Raganuga Bhakti. Like so many Ragatmika books brought in and translated by our Gurudev, this book is mainly relishable by the Raganuga Bhaktas. Even though Vaiti Bhakti is also described little in this book. In fact, we will see on the leaves, the back side of the leaf is actually the Vaiti Bhakti. And because, so you see the thing, it is rough. See, back side of any leaf, if you see, it's rough. So Vaiti Bhakti is rough. But very smooth is the real leaf on the outside. Right? And that is what is the Ragatmika Bhakti is about. So in fact, you will see Vaiti Bhakti as the back rough surface as we go. So it will be written there if you see the chart. So this book can help you to find out as what level you are into. By regularly applying the topics in this book into practice with devotion, the sadhaka bhakta can easily surpass the various obstacles to bhajana, such as aparadh, desire for wealth, fame, etc., and achieve Krishna prema. The author of the book is Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura, but he attributes the source to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He becomes in the succession under Srila Narottama Das Thakur. He lived on this planet from 1600 to 1708. Yes, he lived about 108 years. His Nitya Siddha Deha is Vinoda Manjari. Also, some people say that he is also an incarnation of Rupa Manjari, that is Rupa Goswami. So, Srila Chakravarty Thakura is one of the prominent and effulgent pillars in the line of Sri Rupa Anuga Vaishnava Acharyas, or spiritual preceptors in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami. He has blessed the whole world by writing this Madhurya Kadambini. Madhurya Kadambini Granda Jagat Kailo Dhanya Chakravarty Mukhe Vakta Apani Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura has blessed the whole world by writing this Madhurya Kadambini. In reality, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoken this work through the mouth of Srila Chakravarty Thakur. So it is again and again said by the author that all the truths discovered in this book are actually bestowed by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to flood this world with Krishna prema. Chaitanya avatare bahe prema mritta banya sabajiva prema bhashe prithvi hailo danya. At the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descent, there was such a flood of the nectar of prema that is drowned, it drowned the living entity throughout the world. In this way, the earth became fortunate. The author also gives very special prayer to Srila Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya manobhistam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam Rupa kadamahiyam tadati swa padandikam. So when will Srila Rupa Goswami, who has established within this world, the mission to fulfill the innermost desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personally give me shelter at his lotus feet. So now we'll start. First, I want to cover a portion that comes a little later in this book, in the first shower. I covered this particular topic actually years ago in one of the Harikathas, but I want to really bring it here and will go through quickly. So in this world, there are so much of material knowledge. In fact, if we see the amount of information that is being fed to us every day through our material senses, they are simply overwhelming. This is happening in every planetary system, in the unlimited universes. We have been given with 5 main sense organs. They are called Jnanendriyas. The peripheral or instrument that feed us data, information, material knowledge. What are they? Eyes for seeing, ears for hearing, nose for smelling, skin for touching, and tongue for tasting. So all these indriyas constantly feed worldly information to our mind, who is the boss and controller of our sense organs. So mind is the one which is all the sense organs are connected to the mind. So mind is the boss. So then we have our intelligence also on the side that we use to assimilate the data, the information, or the material knowledge. It's not spiritual knowledge. We are not getting any spiritual knowledge through our sense organs. So, but the main question is, how much reliability and accuracy we have on these kind of knowledge that we get through the senses? Can we fully rely on this for the absolute knowledge, the real truth? That is the question. So scriptures say that we have 10 ways to acquire knowledge through our senses, mind and intelligence. What are they? Pratyaksha, by direct perception. Anumāna, by inference. Arsa, from statements of the sages. Upamāna, by comparison. And Arthapāti, by presumption. Abhāva, by absence of something. Sambhava, from probability or statistics. Aitihya, from tradition. Cestā, from science and experiment. And Sabda, from Vedic testimony. Okay, so here the Arsa, the statements of the sages, is not to be confused with the advanced sages. These are all worldly sages who really come as prophets and then to accomplish something. Okay, so now we will go over each one of them quickly. So first one is Pratyaksha, direct perception. Can we rely on Pratyaksha for absolute knowledge? Can we see anything in the dark? So our senses are limited. So actually the answer is no, we cannot. Our sense organs have so many limitations. In many ways, all our senses have faults. They are also affected by conditions of our body, illness. We perceive things differently. Old age, emotion when it comes, so many things are really completely, interpreted differently. And disabilities, madness, inattentiveness. So when we perceive anything in these conditions, the information delivered is falsely. So you see the example, for example, see on the left side the elephant. What do we see? How many legs do we see for this elephant? How many? And look at the other one. Do we see that there are 2 old people, or do you see just 2 old people, or you see something there in between that you also see more people, like one playing a guitar on the right side and another one looking at him from the left side? Which perception is correct? This is actually an example to bring it up. So Pratyaksha, that direct perception, is not fully reliable to get absolute knowledge. Then the second one is Anumāna. Anumāna means inference, knowledge obtained by observing a particular phenomena. For example, by seeing a smoke, what we do? So by seeing a smoke, we assume that there is fire. But there may not be any fire. The fire could be already extinguished, leaving just smoke. Or it could be from pollution, smoke from industries. Or it may be just a faint cloud that is passing through. So this method of Anumāna, that is inference, is also not the useful for getting absolute knowledge. Now the third one is Arsa, statements of sages, opinions, and logical reasoning from sages and prophets. There are so many sages and prophets who come and go. They come when there is any need to handle the particular circumstances. They teach by their own logical reasoning from their own perception. There are so many distinct theories. They all depend on their perception. For example, Advaita Vada, so many Vadas are there. But what is the truth? What is the Tattva? We don't know. So, for example, even Shankaracharya took years to compile Brahma Sutra, compile the commentary for the Brahma Sutra, or also called Vedanta Sutra, by his own logic reasoning. He had to rewrite it several times. He was really tearing out. He writes one and then again tears it. No, that may not be right. Okay, write again. So like that, he had to go through so many different rewrites. So his theory of Advaita Vada was refuted by every single saint who came after him. But still we can see so many Mayavadis embracing the philosophy. So now look at anything that you can see in this world.
Which do contain resurrection stories were added 200 years later.
None of the gospel stories is CNN in Jerusalem in the year 30.
The Gospels are written in the form of historical biography, so many people have assumed that they are exactly that. But that's not actually what they are. They're written to demonstrate to people.
So anyway, so these are some of the things that the scholars are really coming now. So you may know that there are so many scholars refuting the statements in the New Testament, big things going on, because they were written way later. And now already rewritten so many times also. So this Arsa, that means opinions of sages and prophets, is also not useful for absolute knowledge. Now the fourth category is Upamāna. Upamāna means by comparison. Example, suppose someone is trying to explain about alum crystal. He says alum crystal is like salt crystal. Okay? But it is not complete understanding of alum crystal, because the properties are quite different. So by just comparison, we cannot get the full knowledge. So this method, Upamāna, which means comparison, is not useful for absolute knowledge. And the fifth one is Arthapāti, presumption, hypothesis and assumptions. Example, a man does not eat during the day. For example, suppose a man does not eat at all in the daytime at all, absolutely. But he is very healthy. So we assume that he must be eating in the night. But this may not be right, because by special power one may not need to eat for a long time. You can see this in the Himalayas. There the sages are there without eating anything. So many months they can actually survive. So people assumed, take for example, people assumed that the earth was flat. Even some religious texts even now say that earth is flat. They said that if you walked all the way to the end, you will fall off the cliff. You have to be careful. But when Galileo refuted against the Bible on this, he was given poison and forced to die. So Arthapāti, presumption, is also not useful for absolute knowledge. Now the sixth category is called Abhāva, proof by absence or unknown. Example, suppose we from one side of the wall, we are trying to guess what is on the other side of the wall. We cannot see it. But just because we cannot see anything on the other side, we cannot say that there is nothing in the other side of the wall. Scientists, scientists actually thought before that there was no other livable planet like our earth, because they could not see the other worlds. Now they have many means. So scientists also said that there is only 3 dimensions. But now they say that there are multiple dimensions, but we cannot see beyond time and space. We even covered about this hypothesis of multiple dimensions from metaphysics in one of the Harikatha. But these are all hypotheses. Who has seen the truth? So this method, Abhāva, proof of absence, is also not useful for absolute knowledge. And the seventh is Sambhava, probability and average. Knowledge based on statistics or guess. Let us take probability for example. So let us say that the statistics say that 1 in 100 terminal cancer patients will survive. That's surviving because they have seen the data. So a terminal cancer patient comes to a doctor and asks if his cancer is curable. The doctor looks at the statistics and says, yes, 100% certain you will be cured. How is it, doctor? I was told by another that I have a terminal cancer. Then the doctor says, see the statistics. So far, I have treated 99 cancer patients and they all died. You are the 100th one who really came to me. So by looking at the probability statistics, you will surely be cured. Don't worry. Will you rely on that? And second one, average. Suppose one person is keeping one leg on a hot plate, say 300 degrees. And he is keeping his other leg on the deep frozen ice, say at minus 150 degrees. Is he comfortable? But by the average, he 300 minus 150 divided by 2 equals 75 degrees. Very comfortable temperature. That is the time. This is the temperature that we go for walking and it will be nice. A comfortable temperature. So according to the average, he is supposed to be very, very comfortable. But is it the truth? So this method of Sambhava, probability and average, is not useful for absolute knowledge. And eighth is Aitihya, tradition, historical and rumors, because the source cannot be traced. So a big research was done to find out when was Jesus Christ born. As per the encyclopedia of early Christianity, it says, exact date of Christ's birth is not known. It says that. Millions of Christians celebrate the birth of Lord Jesus on December 25th. This date, however, appears nowhere in the Bible. In fact, it does provide evidence that Jesus was surely not born in December. It's totally contradictory. So Aitihya, traditional beliefs, is not useful for absolute knowledge. And the number 9 is called Cestā. Cestā means gestering, finding from testings and instruments. By gestering, one may suggest certain observation as facts, but they are often refuted by others. The theory of evolution is a mess. Archaeology is another mess. So many theories have been debated. Quantum theory is full of hypotheses. Mysteries inside atom is really huge. Even to scientific findings, there are so many refutations. The physics book is going to be rewritten, as you all maybe must have heard about that, again rewritten. Actually, we don't know many things. We are only gestering. So the Cestā, that is gestering, is not reliable to get absolute knowledge. So what is the reliable source of absolute knowledge? The answer from the Shastra is G-O-K. God only knows. Yes, that's what it is. So the last and the 10th case is Sabda. Sabda means Vedic testimony. Sabda means eternal absolute truth. That truth is not written. It is in divine sound form. Sapta Brahman, they say. These are not authored by men, nor by prophets, nor by worldly sages that we have seen. They were revealed in sound form, this divine sound form, age after age. The sages reveal the truth from the Sabda, from the Supreme Lord. They are revealed in trance, not just like that they make up. They just like that, right? No, not like that. Srimad Bhagavatam, how did Veda Vyasa at his mature stage finally wrote? Now, because Narada Muni said, you sit down, get into trance, meditate, and then you write the story of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That is how Srimad Bhagavatam came, and so many things. I mean, basically, so they're all revealed in trance. So Veda Vyasa is one of the descendants of the Lord. He came to give the absolute knowledge. Whatever he has revealed at his mature stage is the absolute truth. So in summary, we have only one source to rely on for absolute truth. That is revealed Vedic Shastra. The Vedic Shastra, the beauty is, we have always all the documents and books, everything that we have seen, all the rights, the thing that we have really seen, they are actually subject to the time. Right? And so many, in the history, at this time this happened, at this time this happened. This is like that. But the thing is, the beauty is, these the Sabda Brahman is beyond the time. That is why you will see all the Puranas or Vedas, there won't be any time sequence because it is beyond time. Okay, you have to understand. People may think, oh yeah, this might have been written by this by this time, that time. What is my by? Eternal, this knowledge is always there. There is nothing to do with the timing at all. So that is revealed Vedic Shastras. So like this book by Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura and all from our 6 Goswamis, all came from Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Lord. They are the absolute truth. So now let us get into more details about Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakur. For the most of his lifetime, Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura was residing in the most divinely place called Radha Kunda of Vrindavan. Residing in a simple hut on the bank of Sri Radha Kunda, the topmost place of Sri Radha Rani's pastimes. He also wrote many other scriptures as well, not only this Madhurya Kadambini. He wrote so many scriptures. So such as the famous one is Ananda Vrindavana Chambu. It's very, 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 very. So he wrote per commentary. Actually, it was written by some other Acharya, but he wrote commentary for that. Beautiful commentary. Those who have taken Diksha, okay, now it's actually something interesting we are getting into. Those who have taken Diksha and received Diksha mantra knows about the Kama Gayatri mantra. Okay, this is only they will know. This mantra is identical with Sri Krishna. And the presiding deity of this mantra is Srimati Radha Rani. So, this Kama Gayatri has so many syllables. Okay, each syllable is compared to a moon. That moon corresponds to the different angas. Angas mean parts of Krishna. So this is detailed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kama Gayatri Mandra Rupa Haya Krishnera Swarupa Saharda Chabisha Akshara Tarahaya Se Akshara Achandrat Haya Krishna Kori Udaya Tri Jagat Kaila Kama Maya. So here what is saying, the Kama Gayatri Mantra Rupa is Krishna's Rupa. That's correct. This has how many syllables? Akshara. Sarda Sabisha. Sarda Sabisha means 24 and a half. Sarda Sabisha means in Sanskrit 24 and a half. So it has 24 and a half Akshara. Akshara means syllable. Say Akshara. Every Akshara is Chandra. Chandra is what? Moon. So like that it goes. So now these moons are what? Every Chandra syllable is a moon which is part of Sri Krishna. That's why, because this whole mantra is Sri Krishna. These 24 and a half syllables is the big mystery. Once when Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura was contemplating on this verse and trying to figure out all the 24 and a half syllables of the mantra, he encountered on a doubt. That was, which syllable in the mantra is off syllable? Meaning, it should be pronounced only off, not fully. Okay? This is the thing that he got in the doubt. This is the doubt on the Gayatri mantra syllable. He also referred to this verse that is from Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami, who wrote Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, he says that the Kama Gayatri is composed of 24 and a half syllables. He is also saying the same thing here. Right? 24 and a half syllables. But despite deep deliberation, Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura could not ascertain which syllable in the mantra was the off syllable. But how does it matter? It matters. Because if you chant the mantra in the wrong way, you are not going to get Krishna. So he could not ascertain which is the half syllable. When we chant this mantra, this half syllable should not be uttered as full, but only half. So he was scrutinizing so many scriptures for a long time to find out which syllable is the half syllable. There was no mention of these half syllable anywhere. Then finally his doubt was increasing. He wondered whether Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami had made a mistake in his writing. Of course, this could not have been possible, as Srila Kaviraja, who really wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita, is omniscient and free from any material defects such as falling into illusion or making even a trace of an error that we have described. Then Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura was in profound dilemma because he could not decipher the mysterious half syllable. He concluded that if the syllable would not reveal themselves, he would be unable to behold the worshipful deity of the mantra. So he decided that if he could not find out such as which is that half syllable, he said, I will rather die. Yes, he decided to leave the body. Thinking of giving his body, he went out at night to the banks of Radha Kunda to give up his life. You may wonder, just for this he is trying to give up the body? Yeah, this is how they are intense, because they are desperate to really make everything perfect. He sat there for a while, and when he was in meditation ready to leave his body, just after the second division of the night, he fell into light sleep. At that time, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Srimati Radha Rani, appeared before him and affectionately said, O Viswanatha, O Harivallabha, do not lament. What Krishnadasa Kaviraja has written is the absolute truth. By my grace, he knows all the inner sentiments of my heart. Have no doubt about his statements. The Kama Gayatri is a mantra to worship my dearly beloved and me. And we become revealed to the devotee through the syllables of this mantra. No one can know us without my kindness. The half syllable is described in the book Varna Agama Bhasvat. Varna Agama Bhasvat. It was after consulting this text that Krishnadasa Kaviraja determined the actual identity of the Kama Gayatri. Study that book and then you broadcast its meaning, but only for the benefit of the faithful people. So when he had this instruction from Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimati Radhika herself, Srila Chakravarty Thakura arose, calling out in great lamentation, O Radhe, O Radhe, O Radhe, was just running. Then after regaining his composure back, he proceeded to carry out Srimati Radha Rani's order. According to Srimati Radhika's indication, the letter Ya, of course we are not really going to reveal any mantra. This is only those who got Diksha, they will know it. The letter Ya preceding V in the mantra is considered a half syllable. And all the other syllables are full syllables, full moons. So this is the only one, the Ya is the half moon. Those who received the Kama Gayatri as part of the Diksha must know this. Thus, by Srimati Radhika's mercy, Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura became acquainted with the deep meaning of the mantra. He attained the direct audience of his worshipful deity, Srimati Radha Rani, and in his internal perfected spiritual body, Siddha Deha, he was able to participate in the Lord's eternal pastimes as his loving associate all the time. That is why, if we see later, he most of the life, most of the time in his life, he was absorbed in deep meditation, always as part of the Ashtagali Leelas of Lord Sri Radha Krishna. So he also established the deity called Sri Radha Gokulananda on the bank of Radha Kunda while he was residing there. Remember, I told you that that was his permanent residence. What you see on this picture are the actual deities that he established near Radha Kunda, and he experienced the sweetness, that Madhurya, of the eternal pastime of Sri Vrindavan. So it was also at this time that he wrote his Sukhavartini commentary on Srila Kavi Karnapura. Remember that Ananda Vrindavana Champu that I was talking about, for which He wrote the commentary. So the original author is Srila Kavi Karnapura. So he wrote the commentary, and actually he wrote several books, but these are some of the highlighting ones. So the introduction of this book also has some story. It is really saddening sometimes, but something happened. What is this? The Ramanandis, because Sri Sampradaya has several groups, and one is called Ramanandis. It was predominant in the North India. So Ramanandis of Sri Sampradaya separated Radha Rani from Krishna. This is very bad actually. So Radha Rani is not known, because actually Radha Rani is not known even to some of the Sampradayas. They don't know. Like Krishna cannot be known by Vedas. Vedeshu Durlabham. Radha Rani is hidden even more than Krishna. She is known only to Raganuga Bhaktas, not Vaiti Bhaktas. So you all may know that due to invasion by Muslims in Vrindavan, many deities were moved from Vrindavan to Jaipur and other places. Radha Govindaji, the deities of Srila Rupa Goswami, the one what you really see in this picture, were also moved to Jaipur. That time King Savai Jaya Singh II of Jaipur was worshipping this Radha Govindaji deity, because he was the one who really was moving away from Vrindavan, and he started the worship, he really started worshipping. But when around 1700, when the Ramanandis of Sri Parambara became very powerful, they all complained to the king. So remember, they did the similar thing to the Jagannath Puri also. Then eventually, they were all thrown out. But anyway, so that's a different history that we covered before. But anyway, what can we do? This is history. They said Radha Rani is not married to Krishna. Her name is not even mentioned in Vishnu Purana. So we should not worship Radha Rani along with Krishna. We should take her out from Krishna. And they pulled out. They forcefully took her out. It was a big blow to the king. But he had to listen. The king had to listen to the Pandits. Right? This is how the system was working before. And because that time Sri Sampradaya was in peak in power. With their influence, they forcefully removed the deity of Radha Rani from Govinda. In fact, it's the most atrocious thing that they have done, as many says. Anyway, so the worship was done only for Krishna. But the king and devotees exclaimed, what sinful activity is greater than this atrocity? Radharani is the inseparable Haladini Satya of Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Without her, Krishna is just like Brahman with no energy. Radharani is the one behind Krishna for everything. They are inseparable. She is the Prema Surya, the one who gives the life and power to Krishna. Swayam Bhagavan has two types of energies, internal and external. The internal energy is comprised of two. One is pleasure potency called Haladini Sakti, and the other one is Jiva Sakti. That is we are. We are all actually internal energy of Krishna. But Haladini Sakti is Radharani. And the external energy is the material elements, all the Jada Sakti and all the Bhutas. So the pleasure potency of Supreme Lord is Radharani. How can he be separated? In fact, if you see the scriptures, whatever where Ramanandis were actually complaining about can be refuted easily. But again, the Ramanandis of Sri Sampradaya claimed that Radharani was never married to Krishna. But actually, marriage has no value. What need is there between two eternal divine couples? What is the reason of marriage? Why do we do marriage in this world? Because you are separated beings. Alright? There is a husband, there is a wife. Somewhere there, she is born somewhere and she is living separate bodies. But Radha and Krishna are one single thing, and only thing is they are manifesting in two. They are inseparable. So marriage is required only between two separated beings. Radha and Krishna are always together eternally. There is no need for any marriage. In Goloka they are not married. That is why Paurnamasi stopped the marriage when Nanda Baba and Vrishabhanu Maharaj, they were all trying to arrange marriage between Krishna and Radharani. Paurnamasi came and stopped. No, you cannot do that. She gave all kinds of reasons. Because of so many reasons. No, they are not married. So, but even then, for a pastime, Lord Brahma conducted a Gandharvic style marriage. It's a Gandharvic style marriage, just for the pastime. With all the Vedic mantras in Bandirvana. What you see in the picture is actually Bandirvana. The place you see in the picture is the place where Lord Brahma conducted a Gandharvic marriage. So, but it was not the Swaikya style marriage, but a Gandharvic marriage for the purpose of a pastime, Leela. This happened under the same tree you see, which is now 5,500 years old. So, this Gandharvic marriage is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam and a few other scriptures as well. So, just because Radha Rani is not mentioned in Vishnu Purana, that does not mean they are not they are non-existent and not related. They are revealed only in higher sastras. So how can we say, oh, okay, because, see, we cannot claim just because something is not covered in their sastra. How can we say that they do not exist? Why name Radha Rani is not mentioned in Vishnu Purana? Srimati Radha Rani is revealed only in Sutta Sattvic scriptures. Sutta Sattvic Puranas, highest spiritual worlds. Material worlds have 3 levels. Lower worlds, they will have Tamasic Puranas. And middle worlds, they will have Rajasic Puranas. And upper worlds, Sattvic Puranas. It is, so now, the Vishnu Purana is Sattvic Purana. But what we are talking about is Sutta Sattvic. Srimati Radha Rani is mentioned only there. How can you say that just because it is not in my notebook, something is not existing at all? It is also said that in Brahmaloka, they have 1028 times the sastras that we have on earth. Actually, it is said that we have only about 6% of the Vedas meant for earth. All were destroyed. That was why 6 Goswamis had to reveal some of the Bhakti Sastras by the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Once when Sri Sanatana Goswami was in trance, revealing Sastras, some from higher world also manifested, not meant for earth. Knowing they were not meant to come here, Sanatana Goswami buried them all. We can see the Granth Samadhi in Vrindavan even now. So the name of Radha Rani is hidden in Srimad Bhagavatam for a reason. It is a confidential mystery and only a Rasika Bhakta can see her everywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. By the order of Radha Rani, in fact, Sukadeva Goswami was forced not to utter her name. Why? If he did so, he would have fainted and so many days or hours he could not have done anything. But the Bhagavatam was supposed to be done in 7 days for Parikshit Maharaj. So that was the instruction. He was not supposed to utter the Radha Rani's name. Even then there is one place saying, Radha. He was about to faint. But it meant something else. So he recovered. So only those who are under Lord Caitanya can see Radha Rani everywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, others cannot. So the king in fact knew all this and he summoned this problem to Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura. And Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura was the most prominent Acharya at that time. But at that time he was old. And as I said, he was always immersed in the Ashtakalya Leelas of Radha Krishna. So he sent his disciple called Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu with another disciple also to accompany. They both reached Jaipur. A very big and fierce debate started. Sri Parampara caste Brahmanas bombarded with so many questions. Baladeva Vidyabhusan answered to all of them quietly and won all their arguments. At the end, they were so ashamed as every single argument from them failed miserably. And as a last resort, they rebuked that Gaudiyas do not belong to any of the 4 Sampradayas mentioned in the Padma Purana. For that, Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu said, even though there is no need for Lord Caitanya as Lord is Lord Krishna to be under any Sampradaya, in order not to violate his own word, in the Padma Purana, he chose Brahma Mattva Sampradaya. Why Brahma Mattva Sampradaya? Because even though all the 4 Sampradayas have Vaikunta as the ultimate destination, only Brahma Mattva Sampradaya says Lord Krishna is the supreme. So in order to embrace the truth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Brahma Mattva Sampradaya. So we are all called Brahma Mattva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Then another demand came from Sri Sampradaya. They demanded for an authentic commentary of Brahma Sutra, which is Vedanta Sutra. They said only then they would accept that Gaudiya Vaishnavism was really authentic. Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu said, for us, Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary of Brahma Sutra. And in fact, both have been written by Vedavyasa. There is no need to write another commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate commentary of Brahma Sutra. Still then they were demanding a separate commentary of Brahma Sutra. They argued that only if Gaudiyas could produce one, they would accept them as authentic. Baladeva Vidyabhusan said, okay, if that is so, my Govinda can make me to write one. Then these Ramanandis agreed. Okay, as they knew, it is extremely difficult to make one. And simply this will make them to win. In fact, I think I really told today, Sripad Sankaracharya himself took so many years to write commentary to Brahma Sutra. And he had to tear up what he wrote many times. He had to rewrite again and again. Because, he had to rewrite episodes several times. But Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu sat in his room and invoked Lord Govinda. In fact, the sole purpose of his visit was to reunite Radha with Govindaji. Amazingly, Lord Govinda manifested and he was continuously giving his words. That is the content. He was just narrating. And Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu was just writing whatever that was coming from Lord Govinda. With Govinda himself narrating, Vidyabhusan wrote in a week or so. It's very quick. I will tell you, very quick. As it was directly narrated by Govinda himself, he said, this is Govinda Bhashya. Bhashya means what? It's the words. Or, he was the one who really gave all this. I am not the writer. Remember, we talked about Sabda. Sabda is the Vedic testimony that we covered there. Right? This Sabda is coming. From the Lord himself is coming now. So when Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu, took all that, revealed by Lord Govinda, and he read before these Ramanandis of Sri Parampara, they were terribly shocked. How? They could not believe that a whole commentary for Brahma Sutra could be done in days. So they had to accept their defeat now. They all fell at his lotus feet of Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu and asked for forgiveness. Not only that, they begged Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu to give them initiation in the line of Brahma Matya Gaudiya Sampradaya. Every one of them from Sri Parampara, they wanted to take initiation under Baladeva Vidyabhusan. Because all their questions, everything, all cleared. But Sri Baladeva Vidyabhusan refused to give initiation. He said, no, you already have that. No. He not even a single one of those he gave. Why? You have to go deeper. Their bhakti was Vaiti bhakti. Their destination was Vaikunta. So you all should think how fortunate we are to come under Gaudiya. Sakala jagate more kare vidhi bhakti braja bhavaye paite nahi sakti. Everywhere in the world people worship me. This is from Bhagavan Sri Krishna. He says, everyone in this world is people worship me according to scriptural instruction, Vaiti Bhakti. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Brajabhumi. They cannot come to Goloka. They have no Sakti. Paite nahi Sakti. No Sakti, no strength at all. Moreover, their offense to separate Radha Rani from Krishna had no remedy. Biggest aparat there. With victory, Srimati Radha Rani was back in worship along with Lord Govinda. You can see the very same deities in Jaipur now if you go. We were so fortunate. Actually, we were in a big all India pilgrimage trip, and we happened to be there in Jaipur also. Beautiful. So fortunate. And thus, Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu protected the Gaudiya Sampradaya from misunderstandings and he is very prominent in our life. So by now, you all know the difference between Raganuga and Vaiti Bhakti, because we covered that in the Art of Sadhana. Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura is one of our greatest acharyas of Raganuga Bhakti. In Madhurya Bhava, there can be two kinds of relation with Sri Krishna. Swakya Bhava and Parakya Bhava. What is Swakya Bhava? Swakya Bhava is married relation with Krishna, like Andal, Godai, or Mirabai, Napinai, and so on. Parakya Bhava has eternal relationship, and hence there is no Swakya marriage, no. Also, unlike Swakya, in Parakya they have the mood of separation also. They separate for the sake of pastime, then they unite. So, because unless that can happen only in Parakya. So, only because of Parakya we have so many enchanting pastimes between Sri Radha and Krishna. What kind of pastimes do we see in Dwaraka? There were 16,108 queens. And what pastime we see? Nothing. Nothing. All these Swakya marriage, nothing happens. After once the marriage, it's gone. That is it. When we do Tulasi Parikrama, what do we sing? Jaya Jayo Jvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sara Parakiya Bhave Jaga Brajete Prachara Parakiya Bhave Jaga Brajete Prachara. Oh Tulasi Maharani, this is what we want. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Braja by Sri Krishna in the form of divine Parakya Bhava, paramore love. In the higher spiritual world, Goloka, this is the highest. And in this world, because it is ulta, it is a reflection. Here only Swakya is dharmic and Parakya is adharmic. But in the relation with Lord Krishna, there is nothing, no dharma. What dharma is there? All gopis there really came out of dharma. They threw out their husbands. They threw out all the homes, and they threw out all the families, everything they threw out. So there is no dharma. So when Lord Rama came, he was a Maryada Purusha. He was strict on the dharma. But when Krishna comes, all the dharmas are broken because he belongs to Goloka. So in Goloka is Parakya Rasa, which has, if you do that kind of things here, it's a sin. But for gopis, because they don't have any, because when you could go transcend into that level by the guidance of our acharyas, then only you can understand. Otherwise, you have to be far away. So, in the high spiritual world, Parakya is the sweetest and Swakya is not. There is no Swakya there. I mean, it is there in the periphery of Goloka, but inside the Goloka Vrindavan, it is Parakya. Swakya is outside. Most of the Sampradayas, including Sri Sampradaya, all support only Swakya, and that also confined to in Vaikunta planets only. So recollect why Radha Rani was separated in Jaipur. One of the reasons was that Radha Rani was never married to Krishna in the Swakya style. So during his lifetime of Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakur, there were so many scholars refuting against the same thing. Parakya is no Parakya, only Swakya is real. So they were all arguing. So many scholars were really writing so many. Every one of their argument, Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakur refuted. He wrote so many books also. And when he was refuting, nobody could argue. It was straight away he was giving all the answers, and he established the superiority of Parakya Bhava, like Radha Rani and gopis towards Lord Krishna in Goloka. The scholars did not like their failure. They did not want to accept their failure. So they, out of envy, they decided to kill Viswanatha Chakravarty. Yes, they decided to kill Viswanatha Chakravarty. Are they devotees? All these people joined together and devised a plan to kill Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura. They knew that Sri Chakravarty Thakura would circumambulate Sri Vrindavan every morning. So they went and hid in a dark, dense grove and waited for him to walk by. As they all watched and watched him approaching, Because she saw that. Oh yes, Chakravarty Thakura is coming. And when he was coming near, all of a sudden he disappeared. And in his place, a beautiful young girl of Braja appeared, picking flowers with her friends. The scholars who came to kill him asked the girl, "Oh, Lali." Lali means young girl. Just a moment ago, a great personality who was coming this way. Did you see him? Where has he gone? So the girl replied, "Yes, I saw him, but I do not know where he has gone." And she was looking at them. The sight of her astonishing beauty, sidelong glances, graceful manner, and gentle smile captivated the assembly of scholars. See, this is the power of the glance of high-class devotees. By their glance, they can make your heart to change. All the impurities in their minds were removed, and their hearts melted. They asked the girl who she was. She replied, "I am a maidservant of my mistress, Srimati Radhika. She is presently at her in-laws' house at Yavat." Yes, I could really go to Yavat also. It's, oh my God, beautiful. Yavat. "She has sent me here to pick flowers." Having spoken thus, the girl suddenly disappeared. And in her place, the scholars saw the same Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura once again. The scholars saw Swakya, who actually came to kill him, fell at his feet and prayed for forgiveness. And Srila Chakravarty Thakura forgave all of them. There are such astonishing occurrences in the life of Srila Chakravarty Thakura. So in this way, Srila Chakravarty Thakura refuted the theory of Swakya Bhava and established the truth, highest truth of pure Parakya. And it is an achievement of great import for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Srila Viswanatha Chakravarty Thakura not only protected the integrity of the Sri Gaudiya Vaishnavas Dharma, but he also re-established its influence in Sri Vrindavan. If you go to Sri Vrindavan, you will see everywhere Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everywhere all our Acharya, they are all there in the temples. So, that concludes our introduction for today. Now from the next week onwards, we are going to delve into the topics. So here is a summary of what we covered in today's class. We were discussing the 10 ways of acquiring knowledge. Knowledge means absolute knowledge. Knowledge is knowledge, but something. But knowledge, information. Information may or may not be correct. This absolute knowledge is different. So there are 10 ways of acquiring material knowledge. And the only way to get absolute knowledge, which is spiritual truth, is from Sabda. Sabda means revealed from the Lord. Sabda Pramana. We also saw the meaning of Madhurya Kadambini. It's a shower of nectar. And we also saw about the 24.5 syllables of Kama Gayatri. And we also saw the pastimes associated with the syllables of the Kama Gayatri mantra. We also saw about the history of separation of Radha Rani by Sri Sampradaya, Ramanandis group of Sri Sampradaya. And we also saw the different levels of scriptures and about Radha Rani in brief. And we also saw the glorious victory of Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu in all his refutements, all his arguments. And we also saw the manifestation of Govinda Bhashya and how he re-established the glory of Parakya. With that, I would conclude here, and we are exactly on time. Vanja kalpa tarupchecha, kripa sindupya evacha, patitanam pavanepyo, vaishnavepyo, namo namaha.